What is the intelligent supply chain? Helping us to get smart on that issue is my guest today, Heidi Benko. She is Vice President, Solution Strategy and Marketing with Infor Supply Chain. Heidi, welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I am fine, but I'm a little bit unsure about what this phrase, the intelligent supply chain, really means. What does that mean to you?
So the intelligent supply chain is really based on a supply chain that's data-driven in nature, right? And really leveraging data and insights and applying machine learning and AI to really drive processes and decisions. Mm-hmm. And I think we're at this point now because supply chains have changed so rapidly, but also we have a lot of new digital technologies available in supply chains. So mix of IoT, and you're getting intelligence of real-time signals from sensors of what's going on versus a human interpreting and updating something, and then applying machine learning to those data to identify new patterns and insights and helping users make smarter decisions.
That is a lot to digest, what you just said to me.
It's a lot to digest.
But it does start, does it not, with data?
It starts with
Information
data.
has to be there, but data is dumb, unused, or nothing being done with it. So how do we start to get our arms around the idea that machines and automation can actually earn the word intelligent?
Yeah.
Do you truly mean that? I mean, how is it that the machine becomes intelligent as opposed to simply processing data and spitting it back out again at another place?
Yep, so first, to have the intelligent supply chain, just to start, it has to be data, right? And so many supply chains today are run on very manual processes, still to this day. I mean, everybody here has been talking about digital transformation for years. To get to the intelligent supply chain, a digital foundation is required to start. So that means no more emails, no more phone calls and spreadsheets. Really an end-to-end process has to be digital. And then it has to be data, and then the goal is how do you make a good data for machines to learn on, right? And there's a lot of trial and error, right? You're going to have to, not all data is perfect at once, but you want to get good data, start to have machines learn, but then also the humans have to interpret the interactions, right? So it's not just machines take over, right? There's insights that are gleaned.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
We're, 5 years from Skynet? I don't know.
You think so?
Right? It's close.
Mm-hmm.
But it's first digital and data, then giving machine learning to look at those patterns, but then the users to interpret and look at what makes sense from a data standpoint and tune. And then the algorithms start to self-tune, right? And start to get more predictive and prescriptive. And then the goal is to, over time, things just run autonomously where it makes sense. Those types of decisions that, users deem, that's an everyday task, it's a routine task. And the system has prescribed the right action. I'm going to let the system focus on that. I'm going to focus on this, which takes my human.
Right, so we start, do we not, with descriptive. Is that the first stage in what a machine can do with data? It simply describes the data, and then it moves to predictive, where it actually does something with the data that was previously being done by a human being. So we're at that stage, are we not, in certain ways?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, some are just getting to descriptive, right? So again, we get to a number of customers, all of our customers are moving from a manual to a digital process in some way, right? With some process. And automatically that gives some descriptive information, they get a lot of value, right? So if I get better supply chain visibility and I know what's going on, where products are, that's descriptive, right? And then if they're on time. And then applying machine learning, which is one of the things we're doing, Infor Nexus is a single instance business network, right, of supply chain data. We connect companies to their trading partners to orchestrate supply chains, right, to confirm orders, to book shipments. With all that data and all these supply chain flows, we've applied machine learning to determine when we predict shipments will arrive and be delivered. So that gets that more predictive piece based on all that data. And then Nexus prescribe what to do.
But the term machine learning implies to me that the machine does indeed learn, gets better at doing what it's doing, to the point where humans rely more and more on the machine to make such decisions as they come to trust it, and it gets better.
Exactly.
So we are talking about a diminishing role of humans and an increasing role of machines to some extent, are we not?
I don't know if it's diminishing. I think looking at machines, that the amount of data that they can process, right? Humans can only process so much data.
Right.
And if you look at the mass amounts the machines can learn on and train on, and the number of attributes, for instance, that they can do that, they're going to find insights that humans just couldn't, which is going to give information for humans to make better decisions. You're always going to need the human element to interpret what to do with something.
It's always at the last step is going to be a human being passing judgment on what the machine does to a certain extent.
To a certain extent, and then in some processes, more routine tasks for sure, it'll be, oh, the machine's got that.
Right.
Focus on that, but if we're coming up with new insights that could create new business models, a human has to interpret that. Is that the right for the business and other steps like that? So it's not autonomous means no people.
Right.
It means smarter, more efficient people.
How important is it to know how the system, the automated system, came to a particular conclusion? In other words, we have the so-called black box idea, where the data goes in one end, the decision comes out the other. Looks good to us, we'll go with that, but we don't really know how the machine came to that conclusion. Should we know that?
I don't think that. Yes, you have to, right?
Really?
So you have to build that trust in the system. So I think you need data scientists and others to look at the data, and because what you find is, and we did this with our predictive ETAs and machine learning, there's a lot of data in a lot of situations, a lot that has to be tuned initially to get the models to work, right? So someone has to look at that data and interpret, does that make sense? I don't think anyone will ever go with, I throw something in, the machine throws something out, and just go with that.
Yeah.
But it's the trust in the machine. And then to start seeing what you predict consistently outperforms what I've manually predicted, and see the results of that, and build that trust, and then start to let the system prescribe as well. And again, trust that those prescriptions have been also better than what I can do and the right answer.
Yeah, we've used that word a couple of times in this conversation, trust. Yeah. There is a human element where humans probably are a little bit intimidated by the idea that a system, a machine can do better than they can.
Yep.
If they come finally to accept it, can we then get more comfortable and learn to live with this system and kind of do more of a hands-off thing and let it happen?
It has to happen.
Yeah, even though we do have that one last little step where the human's going to... Yeah. So where is it going ultimately? I mean, do you think that it's just a question of more and more of the same, or do you think some real interesting things down the line that you can barely even predict now?
I think definitely that, and I think it still has a long way to go. So when we think about supply chains, and I think the end goal in the intelligent supply chain for me is it's that combination of being customer-centric, and the intelligent supply chain should help me deliver to my customers as best as I can and optimally. So at the best cost, on time, best service, and even identify new products. The intelligent supply chain should do that and tell me how to do that. And a supply chain isn't just one piece in the supply chain, right? It's the entire value chain. So what I see is a lot of companies, you have to start at different points, and there's still silos. So I'll start with applying this intelligence, maybe machine learning and planning. Right, or maybe I'm doing real-time IoT updates of what's going on in my logistics transportation. There's all these piece parts, but I think where it still is a long way to go is that end-to-end data. And if you think about machine learning and optimization, not of individual parts of supply chain processes, but that real convergence of constantly taking in the latest demand signal, what's going on in the supply, and applying machine learning on how to best balance. How do I meet this the most flexibly at the right price and cost in my supply chain? So I see it has a long way to go to do that and really think that end to end. And companies have to take steps to how do I get all the data in one place for all those supply chain signals and those processes to make sure I can look across and apply that learning and machine learning and prescriptive across all that end-to-end data, not in just silos, if that makes sense.
Pretty exciting, though.
It's
in the meantime,
really exciting.
As we wait for this all to play out, I mean, we can't
fast.
predict exactly how it's going to play out, but it looks like it's going in a really fascinating direction. Thanks, Heidi, for helping us to understand what an intelligent supply chain really is. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you. I was speaking with Heidi Benko of Infor Supply Chain. Thank you very much for watching.